City, it is Wednesday. We are taking on the Cavs tonight for our fourth game of our 5-game homestand here. We have one more after this. I'm Eryn Pittsonberger for Hornets.com. That's Matt Rochinski, and this is the HornetsFanshop.com pregame show. All right, first things first, we have a game day special. What do you got, Matt?
Right now, if you want it by Christmas, order it by tonight. It is guaranteed shipping by Christmas Eve if you order everything tonight. That's the only way you're going to get it by Christmas. Make sure you're hopping on HornetsFanshop.com. Right now, while we're talking, you can listen to us, you can watch us, make your orders. And if you're ordering, you also get 25% off Jordan brand merchandise, which is always the hot merch of the season. That's what all the kids want. Make sure you get on there, get it shipped by Christmas. If you haven't figured that out yet, today's the day.
Well, you are multitasking, and we know that you can do this while you're watching us as well, but you're also on a laptop watching us, so maybe just pull up another tab, but make sure to hit that like button on Facebook or share on YouTube before you go and open up another tab before you listen to us.
There you go. Let other people know we're doing this too. We want to let them know.
All right, well, like I said, we've had 3 games under our belt in this 5-game homestand, longest homestand of the season. You know, it's not really kind of where we want to be right now, but, you know, we can break down these first 3 games. What do you have to make of these?
The good news is there's a chance still to go 3-2 and win the homestand.
Right.
That's why these 2 games right now against Cleveland are so important, and Friday is so important. We started off really well, opening game of the homestand, getting a big win, but then only to have that New York loss kind of creep in. And that was the tough one. That was the one when you're looking at the schedule and you're looking at all these games ahead, you're saying, you've got to win this game. It's a team that's a lesser opponent. You can see that by their record. They're a younger group. So that's a game you look at and you say, we've got to take this one, and we were looking really good in it. But to fall apart the way we did in the fourth quarter, that was tough for everyone to deal with. Coaches come out and said it. The players have come out and said it. Everybody's acknowledged it. That was a very difficult loss, quite possibly the most difficult loss of the season. And then to have to follow that up less than 24 hours later with the Lake Show in town and everything that they bring, and LeBron desperate for a win, wanting to kind of go off, and he tends to play really well against this Charlotte Hornets franchise. He did it again, and they really kind of handed it to us. But you know what? We look at that one and we say that's in the past now. We got to kind of move past it, move on. Hopefully these guys can regroup. Yeah,
and like we mentioned, you know, on the pregame show on Saturday, they're sneaky good. Right now, they're 4th in the West. And, you know, the East compared to the West, it's kind of night and day right now. So, you know, we're heading into tonight. This Cavs team, we've split the series. We kind of fixed our bumps and bruises from the first game against them. So what is it going to take tonight in order to pull out this win?
We need to play well at home again. When we handled this team last time, it was when we were here at Spectrum Center. We played really well against the Cavs, had a completely balanced attack. It wasn't just one guy that was kind of taking over for us. You know, we had 7 guys that scored in double figures. That's contribution from all over the roster, all over the place. So that's what we need to really do. Get on them again, much like the New York game when we said we had to come out against a lesser opponent, really kind of step on them early. I look for us to really jump on them in the fourth quarter. We've had, you know, a couple days off. Hopefully that's going to help, and we get that extra energy and that extra boost and come out and get an early lead and hang on to it this time and fight through all the way to the end.
Now we're talking about on the court right now. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the last couple of games. We've honored a couple of really great people for this organization. On Friday when we took on the Knicks, we honored our legend Muggsy Bogues. Put a tear in my eye. We already recapped that, but you know, that was really, really great to watch. And then Saturday, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it was Stephanie Reddy, the Fox Sports Southeast sideline reporter, who has been with us for the last 15 seasons. It was her last day as well, as she's taken a new journey and into another job. So, I mean, you were able to see that. You were able to see the tribute. What did you think about that and how she handled herself?
I thought it was great, and I think Eryn said to me while we were sitting there, she's a pretty crier. She handled it very well, more so than most people would handle that situation. I think I might have broken down if that was me, and you're on the Jumbotron and everybody's kind of giving you that ovation. But she said it herself in our interview. She was part of this Hornets family. I thought it was really interesting to hear her say, you know, people welcome me into their homes, and that's weird to think that, but that's really what's happening. They're welcoming you into their homes for those broadcasts. They grew up on her. Kids grew up on her. Fans grew up on her. So it was great to see her get that love and recognition from the fans because it was so incredibly deserved. We know now that it's been announced she's going on to TNT to do some of these VR broadcasts, and she had done some of those last year. I think she's going to be tremendously successful at it. Stephanie's good at everything she does. There's no doubt about it. So I wish her nothing but the best and hope things work out really well for her.
And like you mentioned, the fans bring her into the home too. But you know, we as an organization, you know, we're all family too. You know, we work with each other constantly. We see each other more than we see our families at home. Right? We get sick of each other. We love each other. It's just everything about this organization. We are family, and so it's really great to see, you know, Stephanie. As much as we're going to miss her, you know, kind of step out and branch out into her career. But you know, among this family, there are a handful of people that gave a thanks to Stephanie and a nice tribute to her. Let's take a look.
Hearty congratulations to a special friend. She's been outstanding at anything she's done.
I mean, I'm going to miss her. You know, me and Stephanie has built a great relationship over the years, and it's going to be sad to not see her here every morning for shoot around, or even getting a chance to talk to her, to answer any questions she has. So
I know my parents will miss seeing you at the home games, so we'll miss seeing you, but we're excited for the next step in your career.
You always know what to say, when to say it, and sometimes even when not to say anything, and that is a true gift.
You've meant a lot to the Charlotte community, to the Charlotte Hornets, Charlotte Bobcats. Definitely want to wish you luck in your future endeavors.
Stephanie Reddy, we're going to miss you, but we wish you the best of luck.
You know, it's a sad time for me and the production staff as well, but we couldn't be happier for you. Good luck, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch.
You will be missed. We'll go on, but it'll never be the same. Bye, Steph.
We are now joined by Ashley Shahade of Fox Sports Southeast. You guys may have seen her on the pregame show and the postgame show of our games, and she's now taken an expanded role. Now with Stephanie Reddy leaving, we're going to see her on the sidelines now. So Ashley, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me.
No, we're looking forward to talking with you because this is really the first time that we've gotten a chance to sit down and talk with you. So take us, we know that you started out as the digital reporter earlier this season, and you've kind of launched into the sideline reporting position. But before this, tell us about your journey. We know you went to Georgia, so from Georgia to now, how'd you get here?
I mean, it has been a crazy 6 months. I literally got this job with Fox Sports South 6 months ago, and it's been the most amazing 6 months since then. But if you want to go back even further, a Georgia girl, graduated from UGA. Go Dogs, always love them. And then right after college, my very first job was as a weekend sports anchor reporter in very small Meridian, Mississippi. If you blink, you might miss it. You literally drive on by, and it's awesome, though. It was such a great place for my first job because it was just a chance for me to grow and learn, and I didn't feel like I was on too big of a stage because it was such a small town, but just an amazing experience. Mississippi has awesome, you know, football, high school basketball, just Mississippi State, Ole Miss, the college sports there is incredible. And then we were so close to Alabama, so I got to cover Alabama too, which was really cool. And so I spent 2 years there and then moved to Jackson, Mississippi, which that sort of fell in my lap a little bit. Somebody was leaving, and it just worked out that way because I was in Mississippi and was already covering those sports. So then I went to Jackson and spent 2 more years there doing more anchoring and for the local newscast. And then after 2 years there, I fell into this role it started out, like you said, Eryn, digitally. I was hired as a social media content producer and host, which was a really lengthy title, but basically a digital reporter. You know, as soon as I got the job in June and started, I covered the Braves, and they had an incredible season. I got to go to Cooperstown and watch Chipper Jones get inducted and cover that, and then DC for the All-Star game. So right off the bat, I was like, this job is amazing. I mean, just to be able to cover those epic events, I was like, this is incredible. And then fast forward just a couple weeks later, I feel like maybe a month or two, you know, not even 2, the Hornets hosting position, they needed somebody. So I've always loved basketball. I've played ever since I was little, and you know, if I could pick like a main sport, I guess that would be the one that I know most, just because I've played ever since I was little. My brothers play, and so when they asked that, I was like, oh my gosh, dream job is happening right now. I mean, since I was literally 11 years old, I've always wanted to cover an NBA team, so it was just cloud nine ever since then, and it's just been a whirlwind. So now an even more expanded role as sideline, and it's been incredible, and I'm so excited for the rest of the season.
Well, we're really excited for you. We've been following you on social media, and we saw earlier in the season that you said this was almost like your dream job. Like you said, you played basketball. When was the moment that you kind of realized growing up, this is what I want to do and this is where I want to be?
It's funny when people ask that. I actually have like the exact moment, which is just so crazy. It was when I was in middle school, and I lived in Georgia, so I went to Atlanta Hawks game. I know they're our competitor now, but at the time, that's who I followed. So I was at an Atlanta Hawks game. I saw the sideline reporter interviewing the players and, coaches at the half and all that stuff, and I was like, I literally turned to my mom and just was like, Mom, that would be the most amazing job. I mean, can you not imagine waking up and you get to cover sports, the thing that I feel like brings people together? And so ever since then, I never really changed my mind. I mean, before that, oddly enough, I wanted to deliver babies, but ever since that moment, I was like, I think I really want to go into sports, and it never really changed since then. So studied broadcast journalism in college, and here we are. I know, go from.
How valuable were those years to you, like working in Mississippi? When you're working in those smaller towns and working with those smaller, you almost become like a niche, and you almost become like family with those folks. How valuable was that to you?
They still follow me today. I mean, the people in Meridian are just. I have some families that became like family to me because I didn't know anyone there, and it was just so nice to have people that were just so supportive, and I just really appreciated it. So they've followed me through my journey, and like you said, I appreciate this job so much because I worked so hard to get here, and always kind of kept my eye on the prize, and knew that I had to take these steps and carry my own 50-pound gear, for 4 hours on the sideline of a college football game, and then try and look pretty after you've been sweating all day and do hits from the side. And it's such a grind. But when I talk to, young women who are trying to get into this position or trying to make it, I say that is such the route to go, because then you just appreciate it when you're there so much more. And that really is true for me.
For you, you've also had a great role model kind of to follow, to kind of coach you along here. And Stephanie, you had some short time with her. What did that time with you mean as you kind of have grown in your career? It
was short but sweet, no doubt. I mean, being able to watch someone like Stephanie do this job and just learn from her was incredible. She taught me so much in just the short amount of time. And the biggest thing that I think I took away was just, to keep it simple, and it's okay to get nervous. She said that on her last show, and I don't know if she was directing that towards me or not. I kind of felt like she was, but it was just such a great thing to hear from her, because it's like, you can be nervous, you can be excited, it's a big thing, but know that you deserve to be there, and, just keep it simple, just have fun with it. That's like the biggest thing, and I feel like from the little time that I got to spend with her, she loves her job so much and knows the game so well, and it was such a pleasure working with her, and I wish her nothing but the best in her next.
I know, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing her in her new job as well. But you're also still working with Eric Collins and Del Curry. We love them to death. We can't imagine that you think anything else of them. Tell us about what it's been like working with them, because we know there are a handful of people who are like, oh man, Eric's so quirky. Like, what is it like working? Exactly. What is it like working with them?
I mean, you could not ask for a better duo. I've learned so much from them even. It's just, I'm so excited to, because obviously we're going to be spending a lot more time together, and I can pick their brain. And Eric always jokes with me because his, first sideline reporting gig started when he was 26 years old with the Chicago Bulls. He covered Michael Jordan. I'm 26 years old. This is my first sideline, so he kind of thinks that I'm following in his footsteps, which I would gladly do because he's had an awesome career. And so just being able to learn from him, he always tells me to pick his brain, and I will definitely ask as many questions as possible. You really hit the nail on the head, though. Quirky is Eric in a nutshell, and very smart. I mean, he comes into our production meetings with just a list of facts that he's Googled, and he spits off, did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know in this year?
It's crazy how much he knows.
He really does, but it just makes it so much more fun to listen to him when he's, calling the games. And then of course, Del Curry, I mean, he's Del Curry. What can you really say about Del Curry? He's just such an awesome person, and I love being around him. He's hilarious. That's something that I don't know if a lot of people know, but he's just so funny, and I don't even think he tries that hard to be. So he's great.
Well, good. Well, we're looking forward to tonight. Going into tonight, I know kind of like Stephanie said, you know, it's okay to be nervous, but you're taking on a new role tonight. What pieces of advice have you been given from your partners going into tonight?
I mean, definitely, you know, not to be nervous. And then Eric, ever since day one, has always said, you just smile. I mean, you just smile at the camera, and the people love that, you know, because people make mistakes, and I'm sure a lot of people get that. And I just think the biggest thing is to know, you know, have a good time and smile and have fun, and try not, at least for me, I'm like, try not to overthink it, try not to think about it too much, just really, because I've prepped all I can, and then it's just when the camera's on, it's go time.
Yeah, tell people out there, what is that like when you're going live? I mean, we've done it. We know what it's like as well. But when you're going live, there's a little bit of a pressure on you. And as soon as you see that red light go on, and you just got to kind of roll with things. Yeah. What is your technique? What is your way you get through it?
I mean, I'm a huge prep. Like, you know, last night I spent hours just kind of researching and prepping, and, you know, knowing what I wanted to kind of touch on and say. And so that always makes me feel better before I go on. Like I tell a lot of people, once I can get to the Del Curry and Eric Collins status where they have like maybe a couple words written down and then they just go, I'm going to feel really good about that. But for now, I like to prep, and I like to have my notes in front of me and everything. And then, you know, it just kind of gives me that sense of, even if I'm not looking at them, just knowing that they're there kind of gives me that sense of relief. But it's just, you just got to take a deep breath and then go as soon as the camera's on, you know?
Well, and we've seen that over the course of the last 6 months, as much has been handed to you, you've obviously got to adapt to change pretty well.
Right.
Change will again happen tonight on the pregame and postgame show. Who are you going to have on with you, and
yes,
how is that going to go
it's
for you?
It's going to be so great. I mean, a lot of my bosses and everything have just kept saying, we've just thrown you in the fire. But honestly, that's sometimes the way to do it. You just got to go for it. And tonight, we're so happy because Gerald Henderson is going to be joining our broadcast. We'll introduce him. You know, he'll be at the desk with us, and I'm so excited to work with him. And you know, as a former Hornet, he's gonna have a lot of great insight for us, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's a good guy. You're gonna enjoy working with Gerald. There's no doubt about it.
We love Gerald. We're really looking forward to seeing that. We're looking forward to seeing you tonight,
Thank
Ashley.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you, and don't forget to catch Ashley on the pregame show starting at 6:30 with Gerald Henderson, and catch her on the sidelines at tonight's game. Make sure to tune in. I'm Eryn Pittsonberger. This is Ashley, and this is Matt Rochinski. We'll be back right after this.
From a Hornets perspective, what we look at, I think today was one of the things about our pillar, our military pillar. Working with the USO to be able to renovate this kids' room and this video room was outstanding.
You know, on any given day, this center will see approximately 300 to 400 men and women and their families as they're traveling around the country. Whether they're coming back from overseas on a deployment, having a safe and secure location that they can come to, know that there are caring volunteers here who will be here to take care of them, and just to say thank you.
I came in the military at 17, and I know what the military can do for you. And what I try to do is use my position with the Hornets to ensure we keep doing that, and understand that there's some real heart and real drive behind it, and understanding how we do it and the real purpose of it. Because you know, I believe if you do it, you got to do it right. And I want to make sure we know when we do something for a soldier, we're doing it the right way.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
Thank you. We now welcome in our Hornets lead assistant, Jay Triano. Jay, thanks for being here. It's your first time on the show. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, now we just kind of spoke briefly about this. You have a very wide spectrum on your resume here. Started out, you're from Canada.
Right.
So started out attending college there, drafted in 1981 by the Lakers, but you're also drafted by the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it's a long story. What happened was, you know, I was playing for the Canadian national team, and we qualified for the Olympics in 1980. But due to the invasion into Afghanistan, Russia was invading Afghanistan at the time, we boycotted those Olympics. So I couldn't see 4 years down the road. It was just too long, and another goal to reset. So I went back to university, and I started working out with a bunch of the football guys, and they said, you should probably play. And so I said, okay, and I tried out and made it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. And I guess somebody thought I had a little bit of potential. I only played the 1 year, but it was my final year of university, and ended up getting drafted. And the CFL is different because you have to have so many Canadians on each roster, and they thought they could make me a defensive back. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. It was fun.
And then from there, and then in 1995, we see Director of Community Relations and color commentator for the Vancouver Grizzlies radio. Tell us about how that kind of came into place as well.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a fluke, really. I had applied to become the athletic director and the basketball coach at Simon Fraser, where I had played and I had coached for the previous 6 years. And there was something in the newspaper that said, I was down to the final 2 to get the job. And then Stu Jackson, who had just arrived to start up the Vancouver Grizzlies, he called me and said, if you're thinking of not coaching, I said, well, I was going to do both. He goes, okay, because I was going to see if we could put something together for you. And really, the community relations thing there, they wanted somebody who was known in the basketball community to help promote and grow the sport. And that wasn't going to be enough for me to leave coaching. I loved coaching, and he said we need a broadcaster too, somebody who can teach Canadians the game without insulting the people that already know the game. And I was like, oh, well, let's try it. So I actually sat down for an exhibition game, and they put me beside a play-by-play guy. And after the first quarter, they pat me on the back, said, "You're doing great." And I was like, okay. And it was great. I worked with a great man, and Don Poyer, who was for years in the NBA and had been from the Seattle area, and he just carried me. He just went like, he would say, it was a great pass, Greg Anthony, the 15-foot jumper, and then he'd point at me, and I'd be, yeah, it was a great play, and then he'd go like this when he wanted it back, and I was like, no, that's not traveling, but no. But it was like, so he kind of guided me through it, and then I saw every single Vancouver Grizzly game until they left, and then obviously when they left to go to Memphis, me being Canadian and basketball community didn't make sense there, so I ended up not going with the team, and just kind of moving to Toronto and started working with the Raptors shortly after.
How much did your roles with Memphis really help you as a coach? Not many coaches have the ability to see inside the front office, see how things work on the marketing side of things, also deal with broadcasters, all of those things. How much of those things helped as you've grown in your career?
It helped a lot. I mean, I think you learn from every situation. Obviously, the Vancouver situation wasn't great, an expansion team that didn't win many games, but I give a lot of credit to the coaches that were there, sitting beside them, calling the radio. As a basketball guy, you're analyzing, going through what they're going through. Then you get on the airplane, you get to talk to them a little bit, and they were all very welcoming to me as far as letting me come for dinners and talk about the sport and promote the game. And the other thing is it helped me build relationships with the players because not very often does a community relations guy who's going to arrange player appearances get an opportunity to be on the airplane. So I can be on the airplane and get a guy in a more comfortable environment where I could talk to him about what was coming up that week as far as what we needed to do in the community, and that really helped me with that part of the job as well, and built a relationship with the players that I still have to this day. I mean, Sharif Abdurrahim, who's now running the G League, was one of the players there, and we talked all the time during his time in Vancouver.
You have tremendous nationalistic pride when it comes to Canada. That much is evident. What did it mean to you then to be able to work with the Raptors as well, to work with another Canadian team and really kind of stay up there? Is it kind of a prideful thing to be working with a Canadian team?
Yeah, it was. It was, I don't get a chance in the NBA if they don't come to Vancouver, where I can start with broadcasting or move to Toronto. I don't know how much I appreciated it at the time because I was just caught up in day to day. How do I prepare for a game? I wasn't thinking I'm a Canadian coaching in the NBA in the only Canadian city, and then I'm the only Canadian head coach to coach the Toronto Raptors, and it was like all that, meant a lot to me, but I don't think I was really focused on what it meant at the time. To me, it meant more when I moved to Portland to become an assistant with Terry Stotts, because then it wasn't like, he's a Canadian, that's why he's working for these two teams, and so on. And then, with Terry, we had, such a great run in Portland those 4 years that it just opened the door for me to be able to move to different places and to expand what I could do coaching-wise outside of Canada.
Now, before we get into your time here with the Hornets, let's talk about, there's a book that you wrote recently, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I mean, but it was, I think right now there's 13 Canadians playing in the NBA, and Simon & Schuster came to me and said, we need to get a little bit of the history. Basketball in Canada is exploding, and you've been a part of it as a national team player and as a national team coach and the first coach in the NBA. We need to document, what has happened, prior to this explosion of basketball. So you're the best guy to tell the story. So we sat down for a little bit, and as we started sharing stories and everything, they went, man, you've been pretty lucky, because I've been very fortunate to have bumped and met some of the great people in the game, and that's kind of how the book kind of took off, and it went from there. So again, if it's for basketball in the country, it's okay. I mean, I don't care to share all those stories, but it was it was fun. It was fun doing it because it gave me a chance to really reflect on a lot of the things and how I got to be where I am, 23 years in the NBA.
That's great. And what's the title of the book?
It's called Open Look.
Open Look.
Yeah.
There you go. Open Look, everybody. Go check it out. All right, now moving forward, fast forward to right now, lead assistant for the Hornets. So far, it's been a couple of months into the season. What do you make of this team right now?
I think we're pretty much where our record is. There's times that I think we're so good, and then there's times where I think we can be a little bit better. So 500 is probably bang on for where we are. I think we can be a little bit better. We clean up. I think we've lost 4 games that, we would look back and maybe at the end of the year and go, those are games that we can't lose or we should not lose. Even if it's 2 of them, it puts us in a completely different space, middle of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference instead of hanging on near the end of it. And I think that there's been change. I mean, obviously with Mitch in the front office, and also with James Brago and all of our staff and the trainers, and we're still trying to figure things out. Like, we're going into meetings, planning for games, and we're trying to figure out where we are as a team and what the best rotation is. And I think that'll come as we spend more time with our players and more time with each other. But it's been a great environment to work in and to be part of, and our players have been great. And I think it's just a matter of us all figuring each other out before we take that next step.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Borrego on the coaches show yesterday, and we were talking about consistency. That's the one thing that this team has probably struggled with the most. We've only got 1 3-game winning streak, 1 3-game losing streak, and aside from that, it's been up and down, up and down. That consistency, he said, comes with establishing your identity. What is this team doing to really establish their identity as of this point?
Well, I think that may be the issue, is sometimes we don't really have it. There's been times where our focus has been how good can we be defensively, and that translates. And then at other times, like, we can outscore this team, and that translates. But I think, the good teams are consistently solid at the defensive end of the floor. And I think we've scored enough to be respectful in the East right now. For us to take the next step, I think we have to become very, very sound defensively. And we have to develop our younger players. Our younger players have to be involved. They have to create a change in the game. Not come in and fit into the NBA, but come in and create change in the game. And I think that will create change with who we are and how we establish who we're going to be.
We've also seen on this coaching staff, it's a very young coaching staff. You're the veteran on the coaching staff. How much does Coach Borrego lean on you? I mean, because you've got the experience that he hasn't had yet.
He's been around for a long time, so I think we collaborate a lot. I don't think he leans on me a lot, but I think I'm the voice that has been around for a while, and the emotions. I mean, I've been in that seat. With the Raptors and with the Phoenix Suns last year, and it's a different animal. That 12 inches you move over, everybody looks at you differently, and so on. And I think the best thing I can do is be there to support him, through the good and through the bad. Make sure that we just stay level. I mean, this season is about lots of road trips, ups and downs and swings and tough schedules and injuries and so on. Just how to navigate through a season and how to navigate through games. At the same time, keep track of the timeouts, keep track of where we are rotation-wise, and what's working offensively. So I think that it's a big role, but it's one that I embrace, and he's been fantastic to work with. He's so open-minded. He doesn't close the door. He wants ideas. He wants thoughts. So that part of it's been a lot of fun for me.
Oh, so what's the game plan for tonight? What are we going to do?
I think the team played last night. So they're on a back-to-back. They're hurt and missing a bunch of guys, so they got a bunch of real hungry guys. So I think our energy level with 3 days off has to be far superior to theirs. We can't get outworked by this team. I think at talent level, we're a better team. So when you're a better team, the only thing that balances the ledger is how hard you work. So, if we get outworked tonight, then that's on us.
All right, don't get outworked.
No, don't get
He's
outworked.
heading into tonight. Jay, thank you so much. Really appreciate your insight. Thanks for being
Awesome.
here.
Thank you.
All right, make sure to tune in. Fox Sports Southeast, 7 o'clock tip for Jay Triano and Matt Rochinski. I'm Eryn Pittsonberger for Hornets.com.